Welcome to Real Estate in the Rockies podcast. I'm Ashley Capel, a real estate attorney. And
I'm Jessica Cheriton, local realtor. Today we interviewed Paul Andrews, who is the creator, developer, founder, capital builder of The Crossing in Buena Vista, which is a 50% affordable mountain community or neighborhood.
yeah,
And one of the most interesting things I learned today after we visited with him was that he put up all of his own collateral. So, his retirement, like everything to get this.
Literally bet the farm on building this development, getting for our community.
Yeah. So he's all in on BV, and it was really great to hear everything he has to share. We're excited for you to listen. I'm Jessica Cheriton, and we're here with Ashley Capel, and I am really excited to introduce our guest today. We have Paul Andrews, and
great to meet you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for wearing that.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
The Real Estate in the Rockies podcast, we tried to talk about real estate in all facets, and we really wanted to have you on because you have some cool projects going on in Buena Vista specifically.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about that today.
Exciting.
The background, yeah.
Thank you.
So for listeners who haven't heard about it yet, Ashley and I have a lot of assumed knowledge. We were discussing, we don't want to assume that everybody knows.
Sure.
What is The Crossing?
Yeah.
And what makes it different from typical mountain town development?
Cool. So The Crossing is a new community. It's on the north side of Buena Vista, right inside town. It's located on 16 acres of land that was platted in 1892. So that's one of the things that makes it unique.
That is
and our vision is for it to be a truly diverse community, and for it to be a full-time, year-round community that is part of our community and takes it forward. One of our taglines is that we're respecting the past while we're building our future. And so there is a respect of where we're coming from. There's a respect for the land. And then there is a large planning and design piece of the community based around new urbanism that enables us to provide homes, hopefully, for everybody in our community, of a wide diversity of income levels and a wide diversity of ages. And so our hope is that it's primarily filled with folk who live here on a full-time year-round basis. And so we've been spending a lot of time and built a bunch of relationships and done a lot of special fundraising to enable us to hit those goals. But at its core, it's a place that built for BV's future, provides a place for everybody who is moving here and will move here, but also provides affordable housing for people who currently live and work here, who would otherwise be priced out of our market or not be able to move back to the place they grew up in.
Yeah. Twice I heard you say year-round housing.
Yeah.
So can you elaborate on that a little bit? So obviously you saw that as a problem, and that was kind of the rest of my question that I didn't say at the beginning, but you saw year-round people being in the community all year as an issue. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so when I started off, the whole project was just based on a belief in Buena Vista and the place that it is, the energy that it has, the people who live here, and then having spent some time in the Front Range, knowing that so many of those people would rather live here than be stuck in, what they're doing down there. And The reason that so many of those people are not able to do it is fundamentally around housing as much as jobs. I think, yes, there are some challenges with jobs. Yes, there are some major challenges with childcare. But to me, the biggest barrier at the time was affordable housing. And so when I took the project on back in 22, 23 as a retirement project. It's grown a little like that, and it's no longer a retirement project. But it is, it's a passion project. It comes from my heart. It's my talent and my skills and my history and my relationships that I feel I'm being able to bring to this community in a way that some other people bring their talents as a therapist or as a lawyer or some other professional. This is my profession that I'm bringing and expressing in our community.
Yeah.
So the affordable piece was the obvious challenge to start with. I spent time with not only everybody in the community, but people who were running the housing authority, people who were running the housing trust, who'd been working on this for a long time. And what we developed between us, with some help and a lot of support from the town, was a collaboration, joint ventures, working together that enabled all of us together to make it feasible.
That's really
and from a real estate perspective, the affordability piece has to start with capital. And you can't build affordable houses with a normal capital stack where you're borrowing money at 8% from a bank and buying stuff. We were incredibly fortunate that as we started this journey in 23, our governor decided that what he wanted to do in his last 4 years in office was help address some of the affordability crisis in Colorado. He reallocated a bunch of funds to affordable housing, and we just met, our timing was very fortunate. So we were able to get grants and low interest loans from the state to put in $5 million of infrastructure. That's the primary reason why nobody had developed this area, because it's in town. You access all of the amenities and utilities in town. So there's no annexation process. All that infrastructure is accessible, but $5 million, that's still a huge barrier to building a new community.
Yeah.
We will go ahead.
Oh, you keep going. I'm thinking a huge barrier to building an affordable community.
Yeah.
Somebody might do it and then charge $1 million per unit.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's where it started from. And so together with the housing trust, so we had grants and low interest loans from reallocated state money that they received from COVID and the infrastructure bill. So it was good timing. At the same point in time, Prop 123, which is the statewide initiative, was just released. And so we were able to obtain money to do the infrastructure. We were then able to get grants and some good loans from Chaffa to build 24 homes for the housing trust.
Yeah.
14 of those are now complete, and the first person is closing on their house next week, which is exciting. But other people are in there renting on a temporary basis, on a rent-to-own basis, and so we have people living in the crossing now, which is really exciting. So that's the housing trust pieces. We were then continued to push, and last May we were fortunate enough to be awarded what's called Prop 123 equity funds to build an apartment building. And so we're partnering with the Housing Authority. They're a part owner of the building that we're building. It's another modular construction project. It's 33 units. They're in the factory right now.
That's great.
We're breaking ground. We're putting foundations in next month. And so we will have a 33-unit apartment building completed by the end of the year, along with the 14 CHT houses. Rents are going to be technically sort of in the 80-85% AMI range. That translates to $1,300 to $1,600 a month for rent, which is affordable. And we'll have 4 units that are much more affordable than that, and some bigger 2-unit ones. But so that's 33 apartment units and ultimately 24 for sale houses for the CHT, which is 57 permanently deed restricted houses for our community.
Wow.
So that's part of it. We did that first, which is not normally, a lot of people
you committed to doing that first with the town. That's a big deal.
It was a big commit. It was a reach, but because of the funding that we were able to receive and the way we built all these relationships together, we've made it a reality. So a lot of people, put 10% affordable housing in a little corner at the end. We really led with that because we knew that's what the community needed.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then that enables us to continue building out the neighborhood. We now have 70 home sites that our infrastructure was all completed at the end of last year. So we're starting to sell those lots. We are bringing some other builders in. So we have 3 other builders that are going to start building market rate houses as the spring progresses. But I'm partnering with S&T Construction. They're a local builder. A couple of guys who were born and raised in BV and have created an awesome construction company. We're building the first 7 market rate houses. We're just getting our building permits now. We poured our first foundation yesterday.
Market rate's going to be.
So this is the next piece as you move slowly west.
Right.
What you'll see in BV at the moment is a market rate house is like $1.2 million anywhere in town.
Yeah.
Because you're paying $200 for a lot. You're paying $400 a square foot to build a 2,000 square foot house.
Yeah.
And then you want to make a 10 or 15% profit. So there's just a lot of, 1.1, 1.3 million houses going up, which does not fit into our vision of a unique, neighborhood that will, on the far west side of the community, we have some big custom home lots. So we'll be selling those lots. People can use our builders, our plans, or bring their own things. Those are $1.2, $2 million homes. But the next phase, we've got these really cool designs. So we've got some smaller single family homes, and we're doing carports instead of full garages. But we've got amazing access to the views in the community. That's the one thing that I should have started with. Not only is it, amazing land that we're respecting, but we've just got amazing uninterrupted views of the Collegiate Peaks while being inside town.
Right.
So we've got smaller single family homes that will be selling for $850 to $900, which is still expensive, but it's a lot more affordable than the 1.2s in town. And then we've designed these condominiums. And so we're going to be doing some over-under houses and some that are a townhome attached to an over-under condo. So it's complicated because you got to go through a little condominium process. Not everybody fully understands it, but we have the resources and the creativity to go through that. What does that mean? It means that 4 of the first 7 homes will be 2-bedroom homes priced from $450 to $550.
Great.
And that doesn't exist in BV.
No.
And so, you're 900 to 1,200 square feet, but that's fine.
So you need those. Buy that. Yeah.
No deed restrictions, no anything like that. So that's going to be 4 of the first 7 homes are going to be in that 450 to 500 range, which is not easy to do. It's taken us 6 months to get our building permits because what we're doing doesn't necessarily always fit into the existing town code.
Right.
That, we're all inheriting and slowly working our way through. But we're patient.
Yeah, who needs retirement anyway, right?
We've got too much to give. Yeah, it's too much fun doing this kind of stuff. And that's, so that's the first market rate houses. I think some of the other builders are going to be doing something a little more traditional from a size and price point. But then we've got a vision for a whole variety of other homes that we will be building out in the first phase of the community, which is 120 houses. It's going to take us 3 or 4 years to get that built out. We're in no rush to do it. It's about doing it right.
Yeah.
And so that's why we've spent a lot of time and money designing the first houses that we're going to be delivering. And if you see the houses that we built for the Chafee Housing Trust, I'm really proud of them. They fit in really well into the environment there. We like to think of them as the nicest affordable houses in the state. So
Yeah.
they look great at the moment. People are moving in. We've got a nice green park in between the apartments and the CHT houses, and we're in the middle of working through probably changing up the landscaping on that a little bit. You can't just go put a bunch of thirsty grass down.
Not here, not this year.
So, we're modifying some of our landscaping plans, but in whatever form it finally takes, that park's going to be in this summer. And so it's a really exciting time for us. It was a year and a half of entitlement, a year and a half putting infrastructure in, and now suddenly we had streets and sidewalks. We have people living there, and we're going to have all these newly designed houses coming out of the ground this spring, ready for everybody to come and visit.
So exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
So talk to me a little bit about the deed restrictions, because I know that there are some people that say, and that maybe you can solve this housing crisis with just market rate development.
Yeah.
There are other people that say, no, you need to deed restrict those houses or those apartments, or, to make sure that the affordability is preserved long term. So
And I think we should also say AMI. Acronym is
Area Median Income.
Yeah. And then we said CHT a couple times too, Chafee Housing Authority. So
Thank you.
Chafee Housing Trust.
Sorry. And then Chafee Housing Authority is CHA.
That's it. Chafee Housing Trust sells houses. Chafee Housing Authority does a bunch of policies.
Yeah. So we'll have an acronym list in the show notes.
That'd be good. So average or area median income at the moment in Chafee County is $72,000. It's probably going up to closer to
one person.
one person.
Yeah, it is bigger. It's a larger sum for if there's more than one person in the family. Yeah.
Yeah, and so deed restriction versus market forces. I know. We're delivering houses. The people who are moving into the CHT houses are paying $280 for a 1-bedroom house, $350
That's great.
for a 2, and $400 for a 3-bedroom house. And those you can't build a house for that much money, let alone sell it with any type of profit margin in there at all. So in order to hit those affordability goals, you have to have some kind of subsidized financing, not just for the infrastructure, but, we got 25 to 30% of the cost of the CHT houses came in the form of grants that we were able to get working through Reed and the Chafee Housing Trust, which made them affordable.
Yeah.
And so without that, you're building $600,000 or $700,000 small houses, which aren't affordable.
Right.
The con of that is that when you get the money from the state to make them affordable, we're installing deed restrictions on there. So the way it worked out, the more money you get, the lower the AMI restrictions go. The houses that are being sold through the housing trust are available to anybody making up to 100% of average median income. Some other deed restrictions are 120. What I like about that is that if someone sells that house, they get to keep some of the appreciation, but that $350,000 house will be sold for $380 next time. So it always is affordable.
Right.
What happened at the farm, where everybody had great intentions and was, really trying to solve that problem, the first people got in cheap, and then they flipped it, and suddenly it's $600,000. So that preserves the affordability. The con of that is someone making 100% of average median income is just about able
Just
to buy
barely
the house.
qualify.
So it's,
Yeah.
you do the math, and if you're trying to borrow 95 to 98% of that
Right.
money, you've got to be making 65 to 68. So it's a very narrow window
But I also,
of people that are qualifying.
yeah, I'm just thinking of a specific example of people I'm working with right now to sell their house
Yeah.
that are moving out of Chaffee County, even though they would be like 120% of AMI.
Right.
But because they've had children now since they moved to Chaffee County,
Yeah.
childcare costs have made
That's
it
the next one.
Oh, yeah. Child
they-
care is a huge issue.
Yeah, they
here.
can't afford their mortgage and
And
childcare with both of them working.
Correct.
So like they would be a good example of where 120%
Does work.
AMI is a good thing because then
Yeah.
they could stay put
Yeah.
and not be
So
moving.
yeah, Reed and I have this conversation about where's the right place
Right.
to set AMIs, and
We need flexibility there, in my opinion.
I think you do.
There's all different kinds of
We
families.
need a variety. Frankly. If
But so,
you have
you
it
know,
all
you get one loan from the state, and they, you get 140% AMI restriction. The more you get, the more restrictions they put on it.
Yeah.
In reflection, I think, if you can deed restrict full sale housing 120, 140% AMI, I think that's good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there's a huge need for that.
that feels like a need that we're not yet addressing.
Yeah.
But market rate houses, no deed restriction, $500,000 price point. I think that's meeting that need. We'll talk about childcare later, but that's
another rental plan.
that's next on my list.
Yeah.
No, but we've got some more thoughts on that. So that's then the rental piece. It's so hard to do quality housing without getting some subsidies.
Yeah.
We've got all in on a $12 million apartment project. $8 million of that is subsidized money in one form or another. Wow. That means that our total average cost of capital on the building is less than 2%. That enables us to deliver $1,300 to $1,600 rents.
Yeah.
Without that, you see,
And to keep it that way.
and to permanently keep it that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Without having to increase rents. We were fortunate because we were able to get those funds. Middle apartment, Carbonate, did not get a great rap from the trustees and some other people in the community because a number of those units had to be priced effectively at market rate. It's simple math. They had to borrow 40% of their capital stack from a market rate lender at 8%.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, nobody's making excess profits here. It's purely just a math equation of where here's what it costs to service the debt and the equity that you put in place to build your building. That translates to rents. We were able to access some really favorable capital that enables us to keep the rents down. So, hey, would it be great if we didn't have to go and income qualify people to move into the building? Sure. But I'd rather income qualify people and be able to charge rents that people can afford than, build a half-empty building where everything's renting at $2,200 to $2,500.
Right.
And we're losing half our town.
Right.
Because they're going somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's people who live here. It's people who are trying to move here,
Mm-hmm.
They come and they get a job and then they look around and they leave a month later because they realize it's not here.
Yeah.
So that said, there has been a fair amount of supply coming in the last couple of years. So you're seeing more rental projects, definitely down here in Salida. I know there's a lot more coming online.
Yeah.
BV is normal as a couple of years behind, but between some of the other projects we now have and this, we're meeting a lot of that rental demand. So it's fun.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about a moment in the project or this is do you have a story or something you can share about a person or that, it's really why you're doing this, or kind of anything that, or maybe back to your humble beginnings in England?
Right. Yeah.
Or did someone say something to you and you thought, well, that made it all worth it because this is taking a lot of time and energy.
Yeah. What really makes it worth it is the team that I'm working with. And I really feel a part of the community, and I'm just out there every day getting to meet with so many great people. And I really resonate with and respect nearly everybody, up here in BV. People have come here for a reason. They love the freedom. Maybe they're bike riders, maybe they're hikers, maybe they're paddlers, but it takes an effort to be here. Housing's not cheap, childcare's not easy, jobs aren't growing on trees. And so you need to have to make an effort to be here. And that's a special sort of person. They're a little more entrepreneurial. They're a little more confident. And I just love being part of that community where people are having great new ideas and they're bringing their talent and their treasure to this community and they're proud of it. That's what's so special. And it is. I get to be one of those people.
Community is really what I hear you say.
That's what I was thinking too. You said they're entrepreneurial. They want some freedom, but then they want community.
They do.
Yeah.
And they're bringing different gifts and talents and contributing in really important ways.
Right, and in very unique ways.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, hey, I didn't get a new hire packet with full health care and on-site child care in the mail. That's down there on I-25, but you come here and you make it work. And most people, 2 jobs, 3 jobs, however you make it balance. And so I love being part of that community. Is there one particular person? Not really. It's just a whole thing. Lineage, from Reed and everybody right out front to everybody who's I'm now working with to build what we're building. And I'm learning every day. I did not know what I was doing when I started this project. I just had a fundamental belief in BV and the community, and knew that I had skills and experiences and relationships that I could bring to solve problems. And luckily, I was able to do that.
And you found the right people.
And I live here.
Yeah.
There are 2 or 3 other projects that started up around the same time or before ours, and they're still empty fields because it's hard.
Yeah.
And it's not, people say, oh, it's political, or the trustees this, or the council that. Everybody I've met has been, with 1 or 2 exceptions, has been incredibly supportive of the vision and everything we're doing. It just takes time.
Yeah.
And you have to be here in town to make it happen. You got to stop by the planning person's office and the town manager's office and public works office, and emails don't work for me and they don't cut it for them. But if I show up with my hat and a British accent, it's, the first couple of times.
Like the saying, if I wear this around.
I'm going to work on the British accent, then you'll be able to get away with a little bit more.
This will work over Salida Planning and Zoning.
I don't know.
Because I do have to stop by there occasionally.
The first couple of times you go by, they're like, who's this guy? And then they sort of work out that if they sit down and talk to me, we'll come up with a good answer, and I'll stop bugging them.
So I won't make you name names, but you did say with 1 or 2 exceptions. So the skeptics.
Yeah.
What have the skeptics said? And what
there's always people who want to close the doors after they made it in, and it was much nicer with the deer and the pinyon pines than the houses. And hey, I get it. I had that conversation with myself hard for a month before I bought that land. I've been coming up here and hiking and biking ever since I made it permanently to Colorado in 2008. And that fundamental respect for the land and our ecology, rings truer to me than being a developer. I was never a developer.
Yeah.
But what tipped it for me is someone who's always going to do it. You don't have 16 acres in the town of BV that's going to sit there
Undeveloped.
forever.
Right.
And
Great location.
I fundamentally believe I can do this. There's some arrogance in there, but I'll do it more mindfully and thoughtfully and more community-centric than some large front-range developer who's just going to come in and maximize value.
Yeah.
And so that
Value to themselves.
Value to themselves. Absolutely. Yeah, I've got there's a different value set here to what we're building in the community. So I forget the question, but that's why I did it.
You answered it perfectly. And I would say the majority of skeptics in our county, that is the issue, is they don't want high density. They don't want
Not in my
they want
they don't want their view blocked. But they got here too somehow. And how do we have sustainable growth in a way that works for us as a community and the things we value?
That's right.
So
we're honoring the past, but building the future.
I love that.
That's the tension every day that we work through. With their specific challenges with, you have to be patient going through the process. You're dealing
very
with the process. And you're dealing, with the town's outsourced engineer who has 10 other projects and takes 6 weeks to turn your comments around. You got to deal with the sanitation district and the water district and the utility companies, and they will move at their own speed.
Right.
And getting $19 million of financing closed with state administrators is it's an act of zen. Yeah. But at the end of the day, it's easier than dealing with, a bunch of lawyers on Wall Street who, want to beat the hell out of you in the loan docs. So we got done. It's easy, looking back on it, it was all worth it. Yeah.
But you had to put your own financial well-being on the line, right?
Every single thing.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Is that my wife out there listening? What are we doing? Did you know how to be a developer before you invested your entire retirement package in land that didn't have any water allocated to it? Oh, did I not tell you? Didn't have water allocated?
That's going to be a question I wanted to ask. Yeah, I mean,
I'm still married. More happily than I was 5 years ago, so we made it through.
Yeah.
No, we bet
the farm. You bet the farm. Yeah.
On BV.
Yeah.
And that's another motivating factor for walking up and down Main Street every day to make sure that it gets done and that it gets done right.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge thing, though. I mean, people should really recognize that, you're putting all my eggs into this basket and it's for such a good cause, and so many, people are going to benefit from this, from the community. So
I got my first paycheck last month when we sold some lots. So there you go. It was only 4 years of working for free. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Let alone all those loan guarantees to collegiate banks.
Yeah.
But that's fine. It's going to work out.
Maybe they'll let you live in one of the affordable units.
They might
do. It doesn't work out.
Actually, based on the last couple of years, I totally income qualified. If they foreclose on my house because of the infrastructure somewhere, I'm qualified. Yeah.
So if the crossing succeeds the way that you're hoping it will, let's talk about positive projection instead of what in 5 or 10 years, what do you see that looking like for BV, or what is that going to do for the town of Buena Vista?
Perfect. Yeah. So the first part is completing what we've bitten off today, which is the 120 home sites.
Yeah.
By the end of this year, we'll be more than half built out there with the first round of affordable, the apartments, and probably the first 12 to 15 houses between us and the other. So there's another 50 or 60 houses, including another 10 deed-restricted houses, including a Habitat for Humanity triplex that will happen in the next 3 to 4 years. So that's sort of teed up and ready to go. Now the infrastructure's in. In the last 3 months, we've started turning our attention to what we call phase 2. So the first 3 blocks is 8 acres. We closed on the second 8 acres over the last 6 months. Our vision for phase 2 is more based around a commercial neighborhood town center.
Love that.
And the other somewhat piece of luck, but luck that I created by being persistent with various relationships. City Market's going to be moving right adjacent to the south end of our project. They're finishing up permits now. So by the middle of 27, hopefully we'll have a 60,000 square foot state-of-the-art new grocery store, which we will need.
That is so
with a
huge.
safe parking lot.
Yeah.
And that will create a new entrance into the community.
Okay.
So right next to where the City Market is, we're building about 30 to 40,000 square feet of commercial space. So there'll be a brewery, a restaurant, a coffee shop, but also a cluster of health-related businesses that we need. Hopefully some much nicer office space, some work-live space.
Great.
And so that will be a walkable town center that will serve all of the residents that are moving in here now, plus other parts of the community. We're sort of calling it, to be a standalone place, North BV. The other parts of phase 2 include some rental, long-term hotel type space. We're still trying to design it, but a really welcoming place for people that are coming here on a shorter term basis or for a couple of months to try out the community at different seasons. That'll be right next to that commercial center. And then some denser, smaller clustered housing units. So no deed restrictions. To your earlier point, it's all market rate. But what we're seeing is smaller homes at the right price is a huge missing element.
Yeah.
So instead of just putting some condos on single lots, we've got a much more thoughtful plan for phase 2. 800 to 1,200 square foot homes, but 450 to 600. I think there's a
walkable amenities.
Affordable walkable amenities. You've got your town center right there. You got your meeting space. You got your grocery store. We got a dog park. We got a community park. We've got a trail all around the community. And all of the houses are designed with outdoor living spaces and decks that access the views. So, you may not have a 5-acre lot up on the side of the mountain, but your own personal outdoor space, as well as the community spaces, have access to the, some of the greatest views in the country. So that's phase 2. So that's the future.
Wow.
So, Bueno is good. It's also short for Buena North. So somewhere in there, we're still working on names and taglines and fun stuff like that. That walkable town center with, a commercial core too. We talk about jobs. There's not great places for businesses to locate themselves. There's some pretty buildings, but a lot of them are older, they're more run down.
Right.
So super functional. And to be, thoughtful on how we bring some technology into that community, because we've got a clean slate to start off with. So how do you deliver mail? How do you take care of trash? Is there, how do we bring in solar and batteries in a really thoughtful way, in the same way that we've got enough scale to build some condos that the code didn't initially think it could accommodate? When you're building something that's going to be 16% additional housing to the town of BV, we can get creative and thoughtful about what that community can be. So everybody who's been here before me will not be too mad that we cut down some pinyon pines. And everybody that's coming in here will have a welcoming place that's affordable and they're able to live. Will there be some, we talked about full-time year-round. Will there be some second homes? It's just it's the nature of the beast. But hopefully, I see a lot of those people moving here full time over time.
That's right. There you go. Yeah. That's like
you got a lot of 4-day a weekers at the moment, right? They're forced to be in the office for 3 days a week, but they escape up here on Thursday night and do Mondays on Zoom and go back and fight the traffic for 3 days. So see a fair amount of that.
Yeah.
And everybody's welcome.
So talk just a minute about the water, because I think that's a really important issue in BV and anywhere, really. I mean, it seems like we've heard that Salida was a little bit more forward thinking in terms of the water situation. And tell us a little bit about what happened.
Yeah, so if you go back in time, like 3 or 4 months after we bought the land and bet the farm, someone at the town counted up how much water they had left and said, "Oh, we've got 350 SFEs left. We probably shouldn't give out anymore." So that was one of the tough weeks. That and interest rates going from 3% to 8%. Luckily, the town was very thoughtful. They came up with a policy to allocate those in a mindful way that enabled us to get more than enough water for phase 1 because there was allocations to affordable housing and to apartments. So that was good. Since then, they've been working hard to build their water portfolio. They've acquired some additional water rights, which not all of them are fully through the approval process, but they've also opened up their mind a little bit to buy a portfolio of augmentation rights from the Arkansas, so it's not just relying on what comes down Cottonwood Creek every day. So we have less concerns about having enough water to make phase 2 viable. That said, we're looking at all options. Is that us directly acquiring water from Upper Rock? Does it make sense to work directly with the town? Does it make sense for us to put a well onto phase 2? So luckily, I'm working with much smarter people now than it was just me and my wife when we started off. And so we've got a great team that's looking at all of those options. And I even learned a few things on phase 1 too. So that's there. That said, it's going to be an interesting summer. All of the plans that everybody has laid and the contingency plans, they're all going to be tested to the max here. And so I think as we progress through our PUD and entitlement process, the water's going to become a bigger question because there's going to be some scarcity this summer. And hopefully this is a one-off. And people this morning were telling me some El Nino stuff, and we're going to keep kicking in. We're going to have a good winter next year.
Good. I'm counting on it too.
I know.
Man, I still want to ask. It's kind of long on.
That's a hard one.
Well, let's ask the last question.
Yeah, because I'm like curious about this. So this 50% affordable model, do you think it can be replicated in other mountain towns? All the Colorado mountain towns have affordability issues, and we're hoping to reach other Colorado mountain towns with our podcast. What needs to change for this to be replicated? Policy, community buy-in.
You talked a little bit about the
from my perspective, I don't think it's replicable today. I think I hit the crest of a wave. Wow. Because it goes back to capital.
Yeah.
What you're selling it for or what you're renting it for is based purely on what you're paying on your capital stack. And the money that I got for the infrastructure, there's no more COVID money and infrastructure money to go around. The $300 million a year of Prop 123 money, which is where we got our apartment money, got cut back to $200 in the first round of budget cuts. With $1 billion shortfall in the state budget, if it hasn't already, I bet that goes to 100 million.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
Makes it more competitive.
the big developers are saying, oh my God, if a guy who doesn't know what he's doing can do this in BV. So there's a lot more people out there looking for that money. And, those funds aren't available anymore. So it's going to be tough because I think some of the jurisdictions looking at inclusionary housing and making this a requirement.
Yeah.
But without that funding,
How do you do it?
How do you make it work?
there's no way we could replicate what we've just done today.
So it's a miracle.
We got lucky.
Yeah.
We got lucky.
Wow. That's great. Anything else you wanted to say before we wrap up? We have the rapid fire.
Rapid fire, didn't we?
Yeah.
I love questions.
We talked about this. So land with a view or walkable to downtown. If you had to pick
For yourself.
Ooh.
But you're telling us you can have both of it.
Exactly. Everything in my life. Yes, and. Both. If you can't walk to downtown, you create your own downtown.
That's true.
That's what we do.
I like that.
Yeah, create the downtown by your view.
Okay.
First job you ever had?
Cleaning toilets and cleaning machinery in a joinery shop at 8 years old where my mother worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
What work would you be doing? I think we're the answer to
this.
If money were no
I'd
object.
be doing exactly what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I thought I'd quit and just go ride my bike, but this is way more fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm doing exactly what I'm going to be doing, exactly where I'm meant to be doing it.
Great. And what's your personal motto?
Personal motto?
Or mantra or something like that?
Yeah, slow down tomorrow. How's that?
I can relate to that. Yeah.
Okay.
We're on the same page. A favorite book or a book that you're reading right now?
Come back to that one.
Okay.
I'm bad with names. I've forgotten that. Yeah, that's a whole podcast. My book
Your book
collection.
stack.
Yeah. Okay. Come pick one.
And what does home mean to you?
That's a great one. Thank you. In spite of all of this stuff we're building, home is hanging out in the evening. With my wife, going to bed way too early. It is having my boys come to visit with their girlfriends and wives now.
Yeah.
And being in our space in BV. That's what home is. Yeah, it's family.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Now, how can people learn more about the crossing and find you on social media or online?
They can talk to Anna. No, they can start off at www.thecrossingbv.com.
Okay.
And then in your show notes, you've also got our Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff.
Okay.
Yep. Or they can stop by the 8Z real estate office in BV.
Talk to Hillary.
Even better, just call me and come get a tour. I do every day. I'm out there and
I need to come
around
over
with people.
and see.
Come
Yeah, I would love
It's
to
the
go.
views.
Yeah.
It's the views. We'll do another one out there one day.
Awesome.
Should.
Right?
Yeah, we'll do a podcast out there one day. That'd be fun.
That would be fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks for wearing the hats.
For the hats
Thanks
and
for the
all
questions.
that you've done for the community and
Thank you.
everything that you
Thanks for betting the farm. This episode is sponsored by Heart of the Rockies Homes at HomeSmart Preferred Realty. We do real estate with heart in the heart of the Rockies and serve Colorado Mountain communities, working to help clients navigate real estate in these unique towns. Whether you're buying, selling, or exploring your options, our goal is to make every step feel informed, supported, and straightforward.